Okay, so I'm going to make this video today. As you all know, I haven't dropped a video since last Wednesday when I talked to David, the Radical Independent. But here's the thing. Just had a lot going on lately, a lot on my plate. Still trying to fit in. I'm going to try to get back. Now that I'm on first shift hours, I really only have between after I get off at 3 p.m. till sometime in the evening, unless it's one of my 2 days off, to start working on stuff. Usually I come home, I have other things I have to try to do. Shortly after that, my wife ends up coming home, and we go out, eat, whatever. So I'm trying to find that nice little time in there because I usually need about a good hour, to record the video, work on the video, get it edited up, and then, start uploading and so on and so forth. Okay? But I'm definitely going to try to get back to where I'm dropping at least 3 to 4 videos a week again. That being said, just want to make quick mention of a few things that's going on in the news over the last week before I get to the meat of the video that I'm doing here today. Obviously, tragedy struck earlier this week. You've got the whole thing that went on with Kobe and his daughter in the helicopter crash. That's, absolutely horrible. My prayers are with the family. I'm not a huge basketball guy, but obviously I know the name Kobe Bryant. Kobe, LeBron, both of those big names in the basketball world. And I feel terrible that this happened. And again, my prayers are with the family. Can't even imagine what they're going through right now. It would be bad enough for, just one member of that family. Like if it would have been just Kobe or his daughter to be in that helicopter crash, but for both at the same time, I can't even imagine what they're going through. My prayers are definitely with them, and I hope all my viewers, will send their thoughts and prayers over to the family as well. Aside from that, impeachment continues. Reports are saying that Mitch McConnell has come out and said he doesn't think that there's going to be the votes to block witnesses from coming. I mean, my thing is witnesses should come, but I still don't expect anything to come of this. This is an absolute joke of an impeachment. They could have had a far better case if they'd only waited till recently, the whole Iran thing. But nonetheless, impeachment continues, the circus continues, and we're rolling right on to 2020. Now, let's get to the main course. I tweeted out a little clip from a video where Joe Rogan basically said that he's probably going to vote for Bernie. Now, I think Kyle Kalinske reported on this very well over on Secular Talk, but let's just be completely honest here, okay? A lot of people immediately jump straight to, oh, look, Joe Rogan completely endorsed Bernie Sanders. Well, here's the thing, okay? Anyone who watches Joe Rogan's show knows that Joe Rogan was very adamant for a long time who he had endorsed for president, and that was Tulsi Gabbard. Now, he may be getting second thoughts as he looks on the horizon and sees what's going on. He sees that Tulsi Gabbard hasn't been on the last 2 debates, perhaps. Maybe he's like, okay, I like Tulsi Gabbard, but I feel like Bernie may have the better chance, and I don't want to see it get stolen and turn over to another corporate hack, so maybe I'll just vote for Bernie and try to, cut my losses or something. Maybe that's where Joe's coming from. He didn't, I don't think, from what I saw, really elaborate on why he thought Bernie. Well, he did and he didn't. He did in the sense that he said, basically, Bernie's been extremely consistent, and I like the guy, that's fine. But even after he brought Bernie on his program, he was still adamant how much he liked Tulsi Gabbard. He brought Tulsi Gabbard back onto his program after Bernie was on there, if I'm not mistaken. So, with that being said, okay, immediately, and I can't make heads or tails out of this whatsoever, but there was huge backlash now, okay, about Bernie praising Joe Rogan, accepting an endorsement from Joe Rogan, bragging about having an endorsement from Joe Rogan. And one of the clips where you can definitely see some of this is coming from, guess who? TYT, the woke police. Okay? So, of course, they weren't the only ones. I mean, it was all over Twitter. It was all over social media. But I noticed when I watched the TYT video, for example, there were some things that stood out to me about that, okay? First of all, you've got Anna Kasparian going on to say basically, well, there's been some things that Joe Rogan has said, things about the transgender community, things about black people, yada, 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 okay? And so that's why she used to watch his show more regular, but she doesn't really watch it anymore, and this and that, and blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm just going to point out one thing, and there may be a defense for this, and I'll give you that possible defense. But what I'm going to point out is, if TYT has such a problem with Joe Rogan's show, Cenk Uygur went on Joe Rogan's podcast a few years back. Matter of fact, Anna, you went on Joe Rogan's podcast some years back. Now, maybe you're going to say, and this is the defense I was mentioning, maybe you're going to say to that, well, that was before I heard these comments that she's referring to, and now that I've heard those, I don't agree with it. Notice, I never went back on his program. Okay, maybe so, Anna. Maybe that's why you haven't gone back on his program. You heard things you didn't agree with, and so you didn't go back. But let's just be completely honest here, Anna, okay? Whatever your opinions of Joe Rogan are, okay, Joe Rogan has, if I'm not mistaken, the largest audience for a podcast out there. If there's someone beating him, I'm not aware of it. There may be, but to my knowledge, I think Joe Rogan has the biggest numbers. And the thing about Joe Rogan is he doesn't exactly limit himself to only one side. He'll bring on a right-winger. He'll bring on a left-winger. He'll bring on a centrist. He'll bring on mainstream media people from time to time. He'll bring on independent media people from time to time, okay? Jimmy Dore was just on his program, all right? And so, and literally, to give some comparison here, he's brought on Cenk, and he's brought on Steven Crowder. And we all know how Steven Crowder feels about Cenk Uygur. So, that being said, there was some huge backlash about, for Bernie, why would you accept that endorsement? Maybe because this guy has the largest podcast audience, Joe Rogan, there's people out there who have this, PC outrage stuff. But let's be completely honest here, okay? Any of the things that Joe Rogan has said, let's just be completely honest. I don't think you can find that Joe Rogan is a hate speech-filled person in the first place, okay? I just don't see that being a part of who Joe Rogan is. Joe Rogan is also a comedian, okay? So he's going to make jokes about things. He'll make jokes about what you may fall under the category of, but it's not like he just makes jokes about other, types of people that don't align with who he is. He makes jokes about himself. He makes jokes about anybody. That's what most comedians do. They know how to laugh at other people as well as themselves. They know how to make humor out of basically everything. Okay? That's kind of their job. So Joe Rogan is a comedian. Maybe you should take that stick that's wedged, about 4 or 5 feet up your ass out and stop getting so butthurt because of comedian. Now, some may say some of the things that he said weren't, jokes. Maybe he does have particular opinions on certain issues. What I don't think I've ever heard Joe Rogan on that whole race thing, by the way, that they tried to throw up briefly. I haven't heard Joe Rogan be racist. Now, maybe he does have a stance that you may not agree with, that I may not agree with, on gay people, transgender people, but I haven't personally heard him come out and really bash them. I haven't heard him come out and basically say, I don't feel like they should be allowed to do what they're doing. In other words, I haven't heard him say anything that's trying to hold anyone down. I haven't heard that, okay? And if you can show me a clip of that, by all means, go ahead. But I haven't heard that. Therefore, if he just has an opinion, that means he just has an opinion. And he's allowed to express the opinion just like, hey, not my cup of tea. I mean, and to be fair, I would agree with that. Okay? I'm the old stereotypical, I'm a straight white man. Straight white male, okay? Does that mean that I'm going to go out and, just because I wouldn't personally, do anything homosexual? Does that mean that I have any sort of issue with a homosexual? Absolutely not. Okay? Okay? You do whatever makes you happy. And you should be with whoever you truly love. I'm not going to hold that against anyone. Okay? Absolutely not. Just because I don't personally do it and don't personally, find it attractive to me or whatever does not mean I'm going to try to infringe upon someone else's rights. So for all the people who tried to go after Joe Rogan in that regard, unless you can point to me where this man is actively trying to hold down the community, you're just whining like little bitches. I mean, let's just be honest. Whomever is complaining, nothing but this whole woke, fake, outrage, PC crap, okay? And that actually fits in very well in line with the TYT crowd, because we know that there's some old woke jokes over there on TYT, okay? Now, one other thing that Joe Rogan brought up in that endorsement of Bernie was that he said, I feel like Tulsi Gabbard would be an excellent VP for Bernie Sanders. Wow. So guess what? The guy he been endorsing, he hasn't abandoned Tulsi Gabbard for all you pro-Bernie people. Like, oh, look, he flipped. He's not for Tulsi. He's for Bernie. No, he's actually wanting both of them, okay? He wants a Bernie-Tulsi ticket. That's what he wants to see, okay? Now, who else came out and said that Tulsi Gabbard would be an excellent choice for Bernie's VP? Who else come out and said that not too long ago? Kyle Kalinske. Now let's get to the second half of this little review, okay? There's a guy that I have referenced before, made some responses to, and he runs the YouTube channel, The Progressive Voice. Mr. Sahil Habibi, okay? Of course, we all know he loves TYT. He doesn't mind going talking to Anna Kasparian. I think he might have him a little bit of a crush on Anna, but it's neither here nor there. He brought Kyle on his program not too long ago, and of course, we all know. Well, anybody who's watched his videos anyway, we all know what Sahil's stance on Tulsi is. He's right on in there with those yellow vest America guys. Doesn't like Tulsi, couldn't care less, thinks she should drop out, thinks she's a waste of space, and she's a complete waste of time. Okay? That's what Sahil's stance is on Tulsi Gabbard. Now, we all know that Kyle Kalinske, his main man is Bernie Sanders. He wants Bernie Sanders, he wants him as the nominee, he wants him as the president, but he has not been as harsh towards Tulsi Gabbard and Tulsi Gabbard supporters as Yellow Vest America, as the Progressive Voice, as so many other of the big burners have been, okay? Kyle's just not that kind of guy. Now, he tried to get it out of Kyle when he brought him on the program. Kyle didn't take the bait. He just didn't do it. He didn't do it. He tried to get that out of Kyle, and he didn't get it. And I applaud Kyle for that. Kyle's being honest about this. Whereas, from my, observation, people like Sahil and the Yellow Vest America, they're just being a bunch of little whining crybabies, okay? And so Kyle comes out and says, you know what, I think Tulsi Gabbard would be an excellent attack dog for, Bernie Sanders. I think she should be his VP. Of course, Sahil comes out to that, makes a video. Oh, no, man, absolutely not. Are you crazy? You shouldn't do that. What a joke that is. No, you shouldn't pick Tulsi Gabbard as your VP. She got too much baggage, man. All the smears, the Syria and the Russian ads. Why would you do that to yourself? Wow. Wow. So, what I'm gathering from your narrative there is that Tulsi Gabbard would not be a good choice for VP because the mainstream media has tried to smear her. So, got a question. Going off that, I'm going to take from that Bernie hasn't been smeared by the mainstream media. So, therefore, he shouldn't pick someone who has, right? Just one problem with that. Bernie gets smeared by the mainstream media all the time. And who was one of the people trying to lead the charge on one of these recent smears against Bernie? Oh, that's right. That Native American that people like yourself thought was no real threat to Bernie Sanders. That was his real ally, or the second best alternative, not Tulsi Gabbard. It was Elizabeth Warren, the not so Native American candidate running for president. And she just led a recent round of smear attacks on Bernie Sanders, not Tulsi Gabbard. And Tulsi Gabbard defended Bernie through those accusations. Seems to me every time Bernie gets attacked, Tulsi defends him. Elizabeth Warren trying to stick that knife in just a little bit deeper. So you don't think Tulsi would be a good VP choice. Now, there's other good choices out there if Bernie got that nomination, sure. But does that mean that Tulsi Gabbard is a bad one? Absolutely not. I think this just shows more and more and more just how much people like, the Progressive Voice and many others have this loathing of Tulsi Gabbard for whatever reason. And they, just like the people with Trump derangement syndrome, even when there's something that you should be able to agree with, they won't do it just because they don't like that candidate. Pure and simple. Okay, and to me, when you're trying to build a coalition of outsiders to run against the establishment, you're going to be hard-pressed to find many people out there who are going to meet that qualification a little bit better than Tulsi Gabbard. That's not to say there isn't anybody who's going to be able to be on an even keel with her, maybe even more of an outsider. But Tulsi Gabbard is without a doubt going to be one of the main ones. And I am convinced, and I'll say this again, that one of the main reasons that Tulsi has not done better than she has this election cycle is because people know Bernie from 2016, but there's not that many people who are still finding out about Tulsi Gabbard because of censorship. They're not going to promote the idea. And of course, all you see ads on TV now, they're either from Mike Bloomberg or they are from Tom Steyer. That's pretty much what you've got. So yeah, for those burners though, the people who don't think Tulsi Gabbard would be a good VP choice, or people who think that Joe Rogan, basically saying that he'd probably vote for Bernie Sanders is a bad thing, you must not really want your candidate to win. Because when a guy that has a massive podcast audience says that, and then all you can do is complain about it, if you make Bernie just keep looking like a capitulating joke, keep, rolling over and all this PC. Listen, for all you PC folks out there, I just want you to understand one thing, okay? For anyone who is obsessed with this political correctness woke crap, understand one thing. The majority of the country is not behind you. They don't support you, okay? And if you don't believe me, go out and talk amongst the people yourselves, okay? Studies have been done. Obviously, the Republicans don't really care for it. Right-wingers, the old red South down here, they hate political correctness. I can speak to that. I live here, okay? But even a lot of blue states, the majority of the people in those states are getting fed up with how over the top a lot of this political correctness is getting. Okay? And how no one can basically, unless you can pass this massive purity test. And by purity test, I'm not trying to give the Obama example here where he gave purity tests about people like, like money and politics. No. Like to say that there's never been one single thing that could have come out of your mouth, basically, and, if it ever did come out of your mouth, you're immediately disqualified, okay? The people who keep pushing that narrative say that, like, if you ever said one bad thing in your past, no matter how long ago, oh, you can't have, nope, you're not qualified. You're not fit for this. People who get so outraged over this stuff, if Bernie loses because the majority of the country, if he keeps rolling over for you people, okay, whomever you may be, if he keeps rolling over for you and he loses, give yourselves a big old pat on the back. A real big pat on the back. Because things like this keep turning more and more people off from Bernie Sanders. He already turned enough people off on his own. He doesn't need any help from the peanut gallery. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. This politically correct crap has just gotten way too out of control. And I'm really surprised that TYT, well, in a way I am, in a way I'm not. But I'm going to say this. They got some serious stones on them. Some serious stones on them to go after someone making some remarks. TYT, where were you about a month ago when the mainstream media was doing that to your founder? You know that guy running for Congress right now? He got a lot of those smear tactics thrown at him. But of course, no, it wasn't what was on his heart. He said those things many years ago, but they don't stand true today, and he was just saying it in jest. And yet, you somehow believe that a man who is a comedian, well, that's a troublesome guy to endorse Bernie Sanders. No. He was highly unfit, to be someone that Bernie should be praising for an Wow. Yeah, keep up the good work, guys. Keep up the good work. If Bernie loses because people think that he's too much of a political correct joke, you people have certainly done overtime to make sure he loses. That's all I can say.